Red Flag Over Paris is a game that follows on from Mark Herman's Fort Sumter. We're going to show you a full game playthrough here today on Legendary Tactics. Red Flag Over Paris is a game that Cax and I have begun exploring recently. It's an interesting game, very similar to Fort Sumter, which we have covered elsewhere on the channel, but with a lot of enhancements, I'll say. So I know this isn't a review video, but I think you found this game reasonably intriguing. Have you, Cax?
Oh, absolutely! I really love the just the card interplay and the card events, and looking at how you best get your pieces on the board.
Yep.
Whether you take the events or use those ops, and I love that mechanic in this game especially.
Yeah, that's great. So we're gonna just do a quick walkthrough of a game that we had recently, and we're gonna look at your cards first here. So you got to pick an objective card. And you can control Butokai or Mont Valérien, which are both on the
military
side. So what were you thinking there? I can't remember which one you took, but I think you took maybe Mont Valérien, because
I believe I did that one because I always found that in games past with you generally get that the purples.
Yes.
So you've usually tried to batten those hatches down. So I believe I went with the Mount Valérien.
Yeah, that's
as a bit more of an option to.
Yeah, and now you have your hand as well. Bit of a mixed bag. Not a lot of ops.
No, not a lot of ops, and I mean at least balanced. But I still had two of your events to mitigate or get on the board somewhere, which wasn't ideal.
Although this game is interesting because you can play one of my events for the ops, that's fine, and then I have the option of picking it up off the discard pile, and it's kind of a use it kind of situation. So
at least it's not an automatic, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at my cards, wow, yeah, so I was fairly decent.
That's a great starting hand.
Decent events. I could increase my momentum and get some operations in public opinion, which is the oranges, which is always tough for me to score. And if I wanted to, I could get a barricade in Paris, and I had this 3-banger as well. So I know I was really interested to see if I could control the left side of the board. So I went with social movements.
Oh, get right in there.
Yeah, because for me, I think
it is a spawn point for you too, though, which makes it helpful.
That's exactly it. And so I thought, okay, and if I win the objective, I get to use up to 2 operations points in public opinion spaces, and I could increase my momentum. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing whatever I got to do
take social
get social movements right here. Now going back to you, we'll take a look and see you did pick Mont Valérien. So
yes.
All right, now it's up to me to decide initiative, and what I did is I gave you the initiative, so you get to go first here.
Yeah, with my stunning hand here, really.
Stunning hand, and it looks like you went with Paul Mink.
Well, because you couldn't really replace anything if I didn't go to a military space, so.
Yeah, and that's for the operations. And you placed in Mont Valérien, which is perfect. It gives you your objective.
Yes.
Okay. And then for myself, just going to scroll down here. We did Louise Michel for the event. So increase revolutionary momentum, and then also use the 1 operations points in public opinion. And this is where the game we had played previously, which sadly is archived, and I don't know if we can ever get to it to show it off, but I lost a lot of cubes because I didn't move my momentum marker over quick enough.
That's right.
And so that was very key. Now that gives me, I can lose up to 2 cubes, and they don't die. They can come back into play. And I decided to use my op to remove you from the press. And I was actually I did that for 2 reasons. Number one, so you lost access to social movements. But
yes.
Also, I thought it was a good distraction to kind of keep you focused on.
And actually, if you notice there, where I am now, currently in the Royalists, to get over to Republicans, is quite a
It
slog.
is.
So
Yeah, it's interesting. Because I don't think of it when I'm playing. I feel like you always get the green. You have control of the National Assembly, the political
it's
side.
not as easy as it would appear.
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, so your card that you played was what was this? Yeah, so you played Jules Ferry, I guess, for the event. So place
Hmm.
two cubes in Republicans or place one in National Assembly. So
So I started going all out,
yes, and so
and
and you're going. So if you look here, you're going to place one cube from the cube pool and then one from escalation. So you don't get that bonus cube yet, but you take your
right.
Republicans
I wanted to get
there.
in there.
Yep. And oh, sorry, you did actually. Sorry, you did breach the escalations. So you add that bonus cube to your cube pool, and
Right.
so then I play my next card. So I was looking at my cards here, and I thought, okay, let's use some
Oh,
ops, and I take the ops here.
the three ops. Yeah.
And looking at this, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to move you out of Republicans. And again, it was really just about protecting my social movements space. And then I placed in the Catholic Church, which
To
again,
finish the deal.
well, it's worth a victory point if I have all three. And I also thought, again, just distraction. Make sure you have no idea what my objective card is. So,
Yes. No, and I did not. So
yeah. Now this is your last play, and you're kind of in an interesting spot because you have to choose either my event and potentially have that triggered, or play your card, your safe event. And you went
that's
with
right.
yours. So what that does is it puts the Blanquists into your final card mix, which means I get the event later, which is kind of interesting. So,
Right.
um, kind of like in 1960, you know how you get that last card left over as a debate card or as a campaign card?
Yes. Correct.
Except if they're my events, then
They do
I get
trigger.
them. Yeah. So you removed me from the press, which I kind of expected, and you went in, and that's fine. I kind of was like, okay, as long as you leave
Yeah.
me alone for social movements. And I had to choose basically between the two events, and I ended up going with Raul here for the ops.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, well, let's take the operations. The event wasn't especially helpful. Kicked you out, and put in a cube there to score a victory point for control of the press. Now this game only lasts 3 rounds, and then you've got Final Crisis, and then you're done.
That's right.
So
It's pretty fast.
we're
Yeah.
already a third of the way through the game. Now,
Yes.
as far as
And
like,
I
yep, go ahead.
I just noticed that comparing those hands there, I mean, you clearly had a bit of a slaughter
Yeah,
on compared to what I had to deal with. So that's maybe something to bring up down the road when we talk about review. But that was one thing that it's hard to mitigate whenever you have an opponent's hand is so much better than yours.
yes, yeah. Although I didn't know what your hand had in it, and you never know, right? So
That's true.
yeah.
That's true.
Now, we didn't do any special actions. There weren't any special actions that made any sense for either your blues, the Mont Valérien, and my press didn't really affect. And scoring, I got one political victory point here. You can see the score marker move over for my control of the oranges
Correct.
here.
Yes.
So scored a victory point and got a bit of an edge. And you got a victory point for fulfilling your objective. Which is great. So you get the event, use up to 3 operations points in forts spaces, and then you may increase or decrease Prussian collaboration, which is your
This
momentum
was the other
track.
reason. Yeah, this
Yep.
was the other reason I decided to go with that event because I thought that would be a great way to conquer blue quickly.
Yes. Yeah. No. And that's I think very true. That's and you probably weren't going to face a lot of competition for Mont Valérien at this stage, so it
No.
was a nice safe choice, and I think it was a good choice.
Yeah.
I get my victory point for control of social movements. Then you take your cubes here, and you raised your momentum, which gave you a cube in your cube pool, and that's great. And then I score my event, and let me click over to that. Oh, I don't know where it shows that. So anyway, socialist, there we are. use up to 2 operations points, and I can increase my momentum as well. Now
Okay.
this was easy. I was just loading up, making it very hard for you to take those back as best I could.
Wow.
I
Yes.
increased my momentum. Now that did put me in a spot where I have 1 extra cube like dead cube space available, but it also
Right.
allows you to put 1 cube into the greens, and you went with National Assembly. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was my turn, and now we're looking at cards to keep here. So I had the press again, so up to 3. I needed to control that pivotal space there in the center, and the the other option was to control the royalists, which is
Oh
a
boy.
good one, but it's way over here,
It would be a real, yeah, it'd be a real
and
dogfight.
yeah. What about you? You had Chateau de Vincennes and
Yes.
National Assembly. National Assembly obviously being the easier of the two.
Right.
Chateau de Vincennes is over here, but arguably there may not be a lot of competition for it. So
Yeah.
Um,
I like the National Assembly because it was just pretty well guarded.
yes, yeah. So I chose the press. Again, the safer safer choice, maybe obvious
Option,
choice.
yes.
And you chose the National Assembly. So we both went with the
safer bet.
safer bet. Now I have initiative. I said you can go first. I'm generous that way. So we look at your
Oh, very nice.
now. You have some good. That's a really good hand.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent hand. Yeah, now. Yes.
So you got 2 3-ops cards. You have and the
2 of my events.
2 of your events. So which one did you decide to play first? You did the Murder of the Vincenzi for the event. So you have to increase my revolutionary momentum and then remove up to 3 cubes from political spaces. So
Yeah, I thought I would try to wipe you out there.
that is powerful. So my
Mhm.
my momentum increases. You add a cube anywhere in the greens.
Yes.
I think. Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that actually happen. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, then you remove 3 cubes from, and luckily I've got the capacity to absorb those hits.
Yes.
That could have been a disaster. Okay, so for me, my response here is to play this. Now, my hand is not as good. I've got Karl Marx, which is the event's a bit of if you forgive the pun, it's a bit of a wild card because
Yes.
you reveal 3 cards from the deck and you discard 2 of them and play the event, or just discard all the cards. So it could be useless. It could be
Yes.
amazing.
Right.
A bit of a risk there. The one op Le Réveil is okay, but it's funny because if we play this socialist newspaper ban, then the Le Réveil becomes unplayable. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I was
Interesting.
kind of torn here, and I'm like, okay, well we'll play this. So I wasn't sure if you're going to pick up the discard and use that, but I was just going to take the two ops there. So I was going to go right back into the press and see if I could fight for that. Because remember, that's my objective card this turn. So
Right.
I needed to make sure. And you went with the 3 ops
Conciliation.
Conciliation.
Of 3 ops, yes.
for the ops. And so
Mhm.
let's see what you did here. And you removed me from the press
And
and
going
put
back
yourself
in.
back in. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Definite
This
tug
is-
of war.
Yeah, and not the kind of tug of war I wanted to have, especially because I only had 4 ops total to fight
Right.
back.
Yes.
And so I played this one just for the ops because I wanted to make sure
Hit
I was
Paris?
well. I wanted to make sure that I was I had only my red events so that to save up for the final crisis because I figured I might need my own events there, and I just removed you from the press there. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, hopefully you don't go back in because sometimes you get those tug of wars, right?
Yes.
And you went with Georges Clemenceau.
Yes.
3 ops, and you went
Good
with
old
the ops.
George.
Yeah. So this was risky. Now, your objective was National Assembly, so you already had that well
I
in
had that
hand.
well in hand, yes.
But interestingly, you decided to go for Chateau de Vincennes and a fight in Paris proper.
Yes.
So
I knew that was one that you generally like to go for, so I thought, I'm going to put a push.
yep. And you know what? That's not a bad play. Assuming you don't know my objective card, it's not a bad play because
Well,
victory point.
yeah. Yeah. My current objective was totally safe, so I didn't have to worry about you getting into it.
Yep.
So I thought, the worst you're going to be able to do is kind of go into press.
Yes. And if you recall, you win the game by having more military victory points than I have the political victory points. So that was a good move overall. It sets you up and it makes you very tough to take out. That's going to be like a couple of victory points for sure for that.
Right.
So that is not bad. So now you entered the tension phase, so the bonus or the tension level. You're using up all your cubes here, so you get a bonus cube there. And remember, you can free up more cubes by increasing your Prussian collaboration. But if you break through to the final crisis, it's going to cost you a victory point.
Right.
So I
Careful of that.
yeah. So with the final crisis, how was that? I lost a cube from my bonus side of things. What was that? What happened there? Oh, I know why. Okay, sorry. So what happens is when you, I think it's when you get to final crisis or something like that, I lose a cube from my bonus cubes, or I lose 2 from the bonus cubes.
Oh, interesting.
There.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah. So it's not really the end of the world, to be honest. But yeah, so what you did is you broke through the final crisis. And we forgot to note this earlier. I'll just rewind. But do you see the victory point go up for my political? So I got a victory point when you broke through, but it cost me my 2 bonus cubes at the end. And but that's okay. That's someone's got to break the seal.
Yes, it had to happen.
Now, I went with, when I look at my cards, I went with Le Réveil because I could.
Yes.
And what does it allow me to do? Increase the momentum. My momentum's already maxed out, though.
Okay.
So, I mean, I took the event, but I didn't have to, and because it allowed me to just place the cube in the press, which I was going to do anyway.
Yeah.
So now we look at the pivotal bonus. Now you have full control of the forts, and you just pass because there's nothing valuable to do.
Nothing in interest. No.
The same with the institutional part. The greens, no point. Same with my public opinion. I decided actually to reallocate to the Catholic Church side.
Take all 3. Yeah.
And that actually gave you a victory point, a military victory point for forts. And because I moved that cube over, I was able to score a political victory point for the oranges. So really weird situation compared to other games we've had, eh?
Oh, yeah, very much so. You're like full control in the bottom orange there. I have the blue totally in hand.
Yeah.
And the purple military is up for grabs. This is never usually like this.
And I feel almost like the greens are up for grabs.
Yeah.
You know, it was a very weird game. We were both playing the sides of the board that we really don't normally do.
Are a little more, yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I managed to score another political victory point for getting the press, for control of the press, and that allowed me to spend some operations points in public opinion spaces, or replace 1 cube of yours in any space. And so
nice.
Yeah, and then you scored your National Assembly, so you got the victory point. Now, for me, I decided to switch you out of Buto Okai, the Paris space, because I'm like, oh my gosh, you could dominate on the military side if I'm not careful. So I had to replace you there.
Yes.
And I felt I already had the oranges were okay. I could fight you on those.
Yeah, you had it kind of well in hand there.
Yeah. Now your card allows you to increase your momentum, but also 3 operations points on on the left-hand side of the board.
Yes.
And so you pulled me out of press, you pulled me out of the Catholic Church, and you went in on press, and you increased your momentum. So now you got 5 cubes available in your.
Yeah, lots of cubes.
And you're all set. Then, so what happened?
Oh, and you had one to place because I increased, I believe.
How did that work again? What happened?
Because I increased my momentum. You had one
that's
to place.
right. Yes, you're right. Okay, yes.
So you had that one to drop in,
and I decided to fight you in the press.
Of course, just can't let it go, Nato.
And now we're in the last round. So how are you feeling at this point when you're seeing this game? Like, how do you feel?
I feel like, I mean, you've clearly took the advantage on the with the orange side, and I feel like it's uphill.
Yeah. It's interesting because, as I said, in the previous games we've played, I mean, I was always winning in the military side, and you were dominating the political side. And going into this game, I was wondering, like, how do you even go about fighting for the political side with the events that I have and all that sort of thing?
Yes.
And because your events skew more political, mine skew more military. But in this case,
right.
we were in the
reverse.
In the reverse.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. So I gave you the ability to play your first card. Let's take a look at your hand here. Okay. Oh, and actually, I skipped through this bit here. Whoops. So you had the option of control the Fort d'Issy, which you already have. You already got
Church. Yes.
well in hand, or the Catholic Church. Obviously, controlling the fort gives you some more operations points in blue spaces. That's probably, I'm guessing, why you didn't want to worry about that one, why you thought you'd go for the church.
Right.
Okay, so that one you went for. And then for me, I had the rise of republicanism, control Republicans, which, if you recall, is this one right here. Right above social movements.
Yes, and very accessible for you.
Very doable. Or I could control Butte Montmartre and get some reinforcement in the Paris spaces, the purples. And
that's also...
Yeah.
That's a little more of a straightforward spot for you.
Yeah, but you know what? I just decided to go for that one. It was the safe choice, basically.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, then I put it to you to choose to go first, because I think there's an advantage going second in this game. So
yes, I would say, especially with the last card, because you can play an opponent's event.
Yeah,
with impunity.
Yep. So what do you see in this hand here?
Another mixed bag. 2 of mine, 2 of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Some middling ops. A lot of 2s. A 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I look at my hand here. I was even worse.
Oh boy!
I had a terrible hand this last round.
Wow! Look at all the 1s.
I know.
Holy moly!
And grand total of 5 ops. It's
and only 2 out of 2 of your own
and
events.
Only 2 of the own events. Yep. It was brutal. Wow. So, but you got to choose first here, and you went with hostage decree, and you went with the operations. 2 ops, because that event's actually pretty useless. You don't have any.
It wasn't helpful this particular game.
Booted me out of the press, and you went in on the Catholic Church. So
yeah, starting to try and take a push for the social side.
And you also want to fulfill your objectives, so that was a very good play. Just lock down.
Especially now I have a blocker with the press.
Yes, too. Yeah, exactly. So now when I take a look at my hand, which one I choose, and Jour de Valet, which didn't help me with I took the event, but it didn't matter for my momentum. And I got 2 operations points.
Already maxed out, yep.
And I'm fighting you over the press.
Still in there, jeez.
Yeah. All right, so you swing back, and you may not know it, but you have way more ops than I do.
Yes.
So... now this one was interesting because you took the operations, but if you read the event, use up to 3 operations points in Mont Valérien, which you already have, or if you already control that space, in Butte Montmartre. So that could have locked down that Paris space.
The military. I was kind of worried about losing the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah, and yeah. And the oranges, yeah. That's fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair enough.
and so
It was
that
a
was.
risk.
But you were right. That would have caused some real grief on the military side.
Yeah, but again, it did leave the Catholic Church vulnerable. And given that's one of your objectives, I think that's
And it would have
totally
been
fair.
appealing to you because it would have completed the political side for you.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So,
So now what the heck do I do with this hand?
oh, that is a mess. Although remove 2 cubes from social movements. That's my event.
That's your event. If you
Oh.
should you choose to take it, that's your event
yes.
there. Yeah. So let's see. So I take that obviously for the operations. I get 1 op, and I decided to put it in the military and take Bout Montmartre because I guess I didn't realize how close I was until I saw that event to losing it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take over Bout Montmartre, lock down my
Make
objective.
sure I have the military. Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise that could be bad.
Yeah.
And now you got 2 of my events left. So
Yeah. So now it's a bit of mitigation factor here.
and not mitigation. You went with the final card.
So I decided to go with the Big Daddy.
Yep. And that was one that I was not expecting.
No, I didn't think you would be.
So
That was part of the surprise factor too. I thought I got to throw a little surprise in.
now you took it for the ops. So just to boot me out and to totally control the political space. Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought there was a bit of a power play.
it is.
I thought, you know what, this way I'll have the political and the blue
Yeah.
on the military.
And I for whatever reason I'm always hesitant to give up that final card. So I ended up just going with the 1 op here, and I knew I could play it safely. I had to give up on the military side of things. I just on the political side. Now look at the board. You are totally in
Dominant.
control.
It feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The scoreboard wouldn't say so, but here it does.
Yeah, and you just had to pass on all these special operations, as did I, because there's no
Yeah.
point to. It was very clean board in that sense. You got a point for scoring your crisis dimension. So you got a military VP for blue, and most importantly, political VP and political VP. So you are now winning the
Yes.
game because you have more military victory points than I have political. So
That's right.
you are.
For the time being.
Yeah. Now what happened here? This was
I just dropped down one.
because I scored the purples, so I
as tug of
hold
war,
back
yes.
1 victory point basically. But it's basically a
Yes.
dead heat. We're tied. Now you. Or I scored Bout Montmartre, which gave me 1 more military victory point. You scored your Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So we took our event, and I had let's see. So we scored. What's the card here? We wanted. So replace an opponent's cube in 2 different political spaces, or remove 1 cube from any space.
Yeah. So because I had kicked you out already, it was remove 1 square.
Yeah.
Here.
So there wasn't really any, just remove the, that from Bout Montmartre. That was a perfectly good move. Then I was playing my Paris cannons. Let me toggle over to that. And where is it here? Oh, maybe I'll go back 1. Okay, so my Paris cannons, 3 operations points in Paris spaces. So I got to undo the mess.
My event.
And
Yes.
reinforce Paris there. So now we discard down to 3 cards. So I had to choose my best 3, and you had to discard down to your only 3 because the final card had been used up.
That's right.
And you had 2 of my events in there, and that may have been a bit of a difference maker.
Right. Right.
So, of course, I just discarded down one of my 1-op cards. It wasn't going to do much. And I let you play
Because in this
first.
final phase, it's events only, too,
It's
right?
events only. So you played this one, remove 2 cubes from up to, or remove a cube from up to 2 Paris spaces where you are present, though. And
So
you
it
don't
did
have any presence.
non-factor. Yes.
Non-factor. Out of my events, I go with this one, which allows me, again, not a massive factor, just allows me to place a barricade.
Barricade, it goes up.
Yep, that's okay. And then your event that you decide to play next is Gaston Crémieux. So I get 2 cubes in social movements, which I was able to pull down.
Quite helpful.
There we go. All right, and I get some bonus cubes in because I finally broke through to the first level. Well, you went all the way through to Final Crisis. I was just breaking through to escalation at this point.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then your last card is Karl Marx, I believe. Yeah. What happened there?
No.
Oh yeah, so Karl Marx. So
you played Karl Marx.
Well, no, that was your
no, because I played Gaston, and then you came back with Karl Marx.
Oh, I came back. Yes, you're right. Okay, so I get to see 3 cards and discard 2 of them and play the event. And the only one that really jumped out to me was 4 operations points in Chateau de Vincennes, which would have
the one I was just looking at.
Yeah, that one was fairly compelling. Now, replacing cubes in the military side, though, you have to fight for it, and so. So I had 4 ops to use. I spent 1 op extra to get a better, build up my strength, got some success.
Yes.
Did it again. I got you out of there.
Okay. Yes.
So, and then finally your last event, which
was
is
your
my
event
last
again.
event. And I got to put some cubes in military spaces. So, I was like, okay, well, I can do that. And we'll take over Chateau de Vincennes. That's perfect. And then my last event here is my biggie.
The power play.
The big power play. So
yes, nice.
Now it's okay, but I still have to fight you for the military spaces. So I went for Mount Valérien. I spent the extra op, and then I went for the last roll, and I missed. I failed. Yes. So I couldn't quite kick you out of Mount Valérien there, unfortunately, but I did.
You tried your best.
I did kick you out of the press.
Yes.
So now you get the bonus action for forts, which of course allows you to spread influence and do this, things spreading around and whatever. So
I don't think it didn't
really matter. No. And then we looked at international and Paris. There really wasn't much
to do
with that. Now the final, the crisis dimension scoring. So I got you got a political point for the greens.
Yes.
I managed to get you out of oranges, so you couldn't score that one, and you couldn't score forts either.
That's right.
In public opinion, I managed to score Paris though, so I got a victory point. And then the final victory phase. When we look at this, we do the revolutionary momentum. So I got 1 victory point political for being in the 3rd space on my momentum track.
That's right.
And that's that final bit there. That's what did it.
Pushes you over the finish line.
Yeah. So
very good game.
That was really close. Like, you don't get any closer than that. I literally won 1-0.
1-0 in the end. Yeah. That push and pull of the scoreboard is kind of a neat.
Yeah. So I
tug of war.
Yeah, I got the victory point for Paris, and then won with my momentum track. So it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have to say, and again, we'll do a review video at some point soon, because we have played a fair number of games of this.
Yeah,
this game
for
still
sure.
is really strange to me. It is a really unusual game.
Yes, I like it, but yeah, you're right. There are some parts that are just a little bit different.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more unusual games I've played this year. Just the way everything fits together. I mean, it works, but it's really kind of unusual and unique.
It's got a unique bent to it for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, and thanks so much for watching. If you've stuck with us this long.
Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if Red Flag Over Paris is one you've tried.
Yeah. And until then, this has been
Legendary Tactics.